Now we begin with police coming under attack again in Atlanta. Rioters launching an all-out assault on a $90 million police training facility they call Cop City. According to police, a group of, quote, violent agitators were operating under the cover of a peaceful protest in the forested area around the site. So they showed up, changed into black clothing, and broke into the construction area, throwing rocks, bricks, Molotov cocktails, launching fireworks, and setting fire to the construction vehicles. Now, police say the group launched a, quote, coordinated attack, torching that equipment and even burning down a surveillance tower. But the protesters are telling a different story. They accuse the police of lashing out at attendees at a nearby music festival organized by that same group. At least 35 people were arrested. Police say many of them are from out of town and are calling the attack an act of anarchy.
When you attack law enforcement officers, you damage equipment, you are breaking the law. This was a very violent attack that occurred at the scene, very violent attack. This wasn't about a public safety training center. This was about anarchy, and this was about the attempt to destabilize.
Kaylee, he's absolutely right. It is about a violent attack, an attempt to destabilize, and it is about anarchy.
Yes, and I'd rather hear that from Mayor Andre, getting his name wrong here, Dickens, than from the police. And from what I've found, I haven't seen a statement from the mayor. I have seen, to the credit of Atlanta, a statement from the city calling these violent agitators illegal action and encouraging to remain peaceful. So better than, let's say, the mayor of Portland, who, when this essentially the same thing was happening, remember, in a courthouse, officers were barricaded, fireworks being shot at that courthouse. The mayor there came out and called the police paramilitary forces. So Atlanta's one step better than Portland, but come out unequivocally, Mayor, and say, this is unacceptable, not on my watch, not in my city, because your voice and your image along with those words matters rather than just a statement. But the left has essentially indicated, you can go ahead and do this. Have carte blanche, guys, because remember the Portland rioter case, 99 cases, 47 of them dropped by Biden's DOJ. What signal does that send? That's absolutely right. And Harris, Kaylee makes such a great point. You know, I remember in those Portland riots, I was in a law firm. We were in a high rise sort of next to the courthouse, and I saw it was a very small group. A very small group that was very violent, that the police force was essentially trying to corral, protecting the citizens. So exactly to your point, it's a small group often that are extremely violent, that then without the calls from the centrist, without the calls from the mayor, without the calls from the president that says, violence is unacceptable, we unequivocally do not condone this. Without that, this small group gets to be louder and louder to the risk of those public safety officers and police officers' lives.
So I'm not as optimistic about the mayor and others speaking up. I think it isn't just them saying we don't condone this. It is actually changing their rhetoric that is anti-police. It's actually putting some dollars behind the efforts here. So if this is a compound that police say that they need, then it ought to be replaced immediately. You know they have the money. And if they don't have the money, they ought to raise the money to do it, because it needs to be a strong signal now that authority is authority and crime breakers are the other thing. And we all have to agree on what that's going to look like. Otherwise, we know what happens. Cops leave. It isn't always they wait for you to ask them to go. The best of them will leave. And if that happens, it takes a long time to get them back in the roles that they used to fill, all that experience. And so these cities start to look like the #1 murder city in America, New Orleans. These cities start to look like Chicago. And Eric Adams in New York is starting to wake up. I don't know if it's politics or what, but when you're saying the right thing, hopefully you'll do the right thing too. And that's where they've got to go.
And Sean, I can't help but say, and to Harris's point about the optimism, you know, this is a growing fire. We have seen over the months the demonstration grow increasingly more violent, specifically there in Atlanta. Remember, multiple people were arrested in January, and note that the majority of them, in fact, all of them weren't from there. I have a list of those who were arrested, and weirdly, it's a ton of people from Pennsylvania, Ohio, New York, Maine, weighing in on what they say is stolen territory, weighing in on their anti-police rhetoric. There's their smiling faces right now on the screen. That interestingly, that they for some reason have a stake in Atlanta, where their actions are disproportionately affecting those that actually live and pay taxes in Atlanta, including and especially those in those underserved communities.
Which goes to Kaylee's point, these people aren't held to account. If you actually had tough prosecutors and tough law enforcement, where if you have a paramilitary force where you attack cops, we're going to arrest all of you and you're all going to go to prison for a very long time, it would stop right now. But there's no prosecution of these people, so it just foments. But what I'm fascinated by, this is a cop training center. I thought the left wants better trained cops on the street so people don't get hurt. So I would think the left would rally around the idea of making sure we have well-trained police officers who don't have chokeholds that kill people. They don't shoot people who may not be armed. I want well-trained police. But I think what Antifa wants here is they don't want cops on the street, because then they'll be on the street and the power shifts to them. They're the ones that'll control the streets. They'll be the gang members that have all the power on the streets of America. And watch out for the rest of the law-abiding citizens, because we'll be subjected to their lawless rule.
And that's the thing, it really muddies the water, Molly, because to Sean's point, so a peaceful protester exercising their First Amendment right, absolutely, is sometimes next to an agitator where you don't know what that motive is. And that motive might simply be to foment anarchy, to foment destruction and violence, to who knows what. So they're including the articulation there of environmental protection and taking back native land and the like. We all remember the eco-terrorism spat in the 80s and the 70s, which led to deaths. These are very dangerous tactics they're engaging in here, where, thank God, thus far, no police officer was killed, but those fireworks came dangerously close to their unhelmeted heads, as we watched on television.
Well, there have been shootings of police officers here, Atlanta and other places as well. And actually, this whole operation where you have a peaceful protest and then you have radical left-wing Antifa types or other radical left-wing groups, that's actually something they've written about. They say it's a good idea to get like masses of people to come out to provide cover. Then you have people who intentionally want to exploit that situation, but it's all part of an operation, and it's not just happening in Atlanta, and it's been happening for months. It happens in cities all over the place. You might even remember the Keystone Pipeline, which involved some radical activism, the Portland situation, where a federal courthouse was under siege for months. And yes, the Trump White House did try to do something about it, but you recall the Portland mayor and the governor of Oregon, they fought it vociferously, because the left tolerates political violence and terrorism that supports their larger aims. And that's why I think it's also a story here about Merrick Garland.
Yes.
Merrick Garland last week said that he went after pro-lifers who were peaceful, but didn't go after people who were firebombing pro-life pregnancy centers or Christian churches, because those happened at night. And I guess the FBI is unable to do things at night. We know that if this were an example of right-wing violence, he'd have helicopters and every gun aimed at these people. But because it's the left and he supports their political goals, he doesn't even seem to have anything to say about it at all.
At that point, 34 individuals who are peacefully at pro-life centers have been prosecuted and targeted by this administration. In fact, some with FBI agents in the middle of the night, as we saw with Mark Houck. And you compare that, 2 individuals have been prosecuted for attacking Catholic churches, even though there have been more than 100 that have been attacked. Oh, and the radical traditional Catholics, we'll go after them as well. I've never met one of those.
Latin Mass Catholics.
Latin Mass Catholics. All you want is Mass and Latin.
Crazy.
That's right. And with the refusal of Merrick Garland to acknowledge the coordination behind all of those, remember, have they even acknowledged Antifa yet? I don't know. But they've certainly been vociferous, to your point, against the Catholics and those who are damaging so much of our protection and security, like parents daring to weigh in. But unfortunately, this is yet again Biden's America and Merrick Garland's Department of Justice. Hey everyone, I'm Emily Campagno. Catch me and my co-hosts Harris Faulkner and Kaylee McEnany on Outnumbered every weekday at 12 p.m. Eastern, or set your DVR. Also, don't forget to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page for daily highlights.